This is a tutorial for how to use the Santa Monica College District Requisition form. The first part here is fairly self-explanatory. Just enter the current fiscal year, that's 2011, 2012 for the recording of this tutorial. And then we have a requisition number. This number is for your use mostly. It's so that you can keep track of your purchases. So here I'll just write a number, and the department is where you're from, your department, and in this case we're going to use modern language. But if you want to, instead of typing, you can also find your name in the drop down menu. There it is. And the same goes for this location number. That's a number associated with your department, and again you can type it out or you can use the drop down menu. Requester, now that's this part right here, this 4 lines is very crucial for us. Now requester is your name, in this case John Doe, and he has the extension 6181. As you can see, we can't type in signature or date. That's because that's handwritten, so you print it out when you're done with it and then you sign it and date it like any contract. The approver, this is usually the department manager, and in this case it's Jane Doe at the extension 6180. Once again, no signature, no date. And then VP, of course, is the vice president, Mark Joe, and he has the extension of 6160. But as you can see, fiscal services has no name. However, this is, just leave that blank, because it depends on what kind of funding source you have for this particular purchases. So just leave it blank, since it might vary from funding to funding and day to day. So if we move over to the right, we have these 3 lines, and they're fairly straightforward. Modern language department could buy for another department if they want to, but in this case we're going to use the same department, and then the name and extension to who you need it delivered to. In this case I want to deliver it to Jane, so I'll just type Jane Doe 6180. That's her extension number, as you can see here. And then building and room number, once again it's wherever that person is situated. Treasure Hall 314. Standard comments and notes. This box is not mandatory, but if your purchase requires a prepayment or a check, then you fill that out here, and make sure that you attach the registration form as well. But that's pretty much all I have to say about that box. I mean, you could write something that might not go into the specific item descriptions, that's more universal for the whole purchase. That goes here. If we move further down, we'll see these 3 rows. And that's your account number, or account information, I should say. So let's just begin filling that out, and we'll move on from there. Okay, now that we've filled that out, now you can see this only draws from $100 from this account, and we have more rows here. So we'll actually, what we'll need to do, since we're going to buy 2 completely different items, we'll need to fill out 2 different lines for this. So you're gonna see that they are very similar, except in the object box. Okay, now why did I fill this out? This is for the fiscal services. They need this to be different, and depending on what kind of object you're buying. Once again, it's for categorizing, so just find out what kind of object it is you're buying, what kind of number goes with that object, and you should be safe. Now that we know which department you're from, who you are, where to deliver it to, and where to draw the money from, let's look at what kind of items you're buying and how to fill out that part of the section of the form. So in quantities, we need to know how many of these items you need. So just type in 5, for example. And then we have UOM. Now this stands for unit of measure. And you can see here, if I hover above this drop down menu, I get all these neat little explanations for what all the shorthand stands for. So you can see here I have CS for case, I have box for box, CTN carton, and then EA stands for each, which is if I want, for example in this case, 5 items, single items for something. But for now, for this tutorial, I want cases, 5 cases at $20 each, which gives me the extended price of $100. And it does this automatically. You don't have to fill that out. It multiplies 5 by 20, gives you an extended price of 100. Now category, here is more filing, pretty much. We need to know the type of items you're purchasing. So for this tutorial, we're gonna buy paper, which goes under office supplies, and we have a due date. As you can see, it's got a red line, so it's mandatory, it's required. Gonna have it by May 4th. And then we need to describe what kind of item it is. So let's start doing that. Okay, so now that we fill this out, we're gonna receive 5 cases at $20 of white paper. But if we move down, we'll see that this due date does not have a red line around it. It's not boxed inside of a red line, and that's because we haven't filled out any quantity. So if I fill out here 100, it becomes red. That's because now it's required, but for all purposes necessary, consider every box required. In this particular case, we're gonna have 100 each at $6 a piece, which gives us $600 in the extended price. And this is going to become under books, same due date, and then we fill out what kind of book we need. Okay, so now we filled that out, and this is the reason why we wanted 2 different lines here. Because of the different objects. This is paper, this is a book, they're completely different objects, so we need 2 completely different lines. And as you can see here, $100 is drawn from the same account because of the paper, and $600 drawn from the same account because of the book. And if we move down here, we have the extension price of $700 right here. That's these 2 lines put together. And then we have 2 lines here, or 3 lines actually, the taxing and the shipping. But if you look, they have an asterisk, which tells you they are not mandatory. You do not have to fill them out if you do not know the exact number or the exact amount. So just leave those blank if you want to. There's no need for it. And the same goes for the suggested supplier to the left here. If you do not know any supplier of this book or the paper or whatever you're buying, you don't have to fill it out. It's a optional box. It's good if you know it, but it's not necessary. So just leave it blank. And that's pretty much what you need to know about this form, except we're gonna go on to the next page. This is not a required page. It's not mandatory. However, if you need to buy more than 3 items, then this is the page you need to include. This is pretty much just an extension of the items boxes, except for 3 major differences. First and foremost, we have on the top requisition number. Now this is the same number as before. You have the same number up here. As you can see, if I change it back to 9, it's going to change back down here, which means you can keep them together. And then we have another notes box, and this is for information about the items on this page only. You don't have to fill it out if you don't want to. And then furthest down we have the subtotal this page, and at the moment it's $0 because we don't have any items here. But if I go and add an item at $100, you get $100 there. And if I go to the top in the former page, we now have $800 here. 100, 600 plus 100, 800. Well, let's go down and remove that. And if you don't add any items on this page, I would refer from adding it to your when you send in your form. Just don't include it if you don't have anything on it. It's unnecessary, so just keep the force alive, I guess. Okay, so I just want to show you different items that you can purchase and how to fill out the form with those items. So here I've just chosen a different department, the art department, same people, delivered to the art complex. Here we have one account, because it's one object, one amount. And actually I can see that this amount is wrong, so I'm just going to change it. Now here we have neighborhood software, a license fee for 6 months. So you just place the name of the software, you place how many months of access between which dates, how many licenses, and how much per license, and then the reimbursable expenses for those items or for those licenses. Now this might seem and feel a bit redundant since you've already given me that information up here, but just add it in the item description. It's easier that way. As you can see, it's $100, 100 items each at $35. And reimbursable expenses, if I just write out $200 down here, this isn't gonna change anything. There's nothing happening down here. So if there is a reimbursable expense, just add it here to each at $200, and then just the same category as the former, depending on what you've typed in here. Due date, same due date. Oops. And then just write reimbursable expenses for $200. That's all you need to know. need to do, then we have it down here, 3,700, 350, 3,500, plus 200, 3,700. Let's just remove that. And this is 0. And then we have the not to exceed amount of 3,500. I mean, we have that up here. Again, it might feel redundant, but we need this information. So just make sure you've added it. And in this example, we've chosen the Life Science department at location 00080, delivered to the Life Science department. And here we have, oops. So in this example, we've chosen the Life Science department at location number 00080, delivered to Life and Physical Science Complex, and just one account information at $1,000. Now, once again, it's wrong. It's wrong. 2,000. So here we have two items. First item here is a blanket open purchase order, and that means that you don't know how much you need of it, but you know what kind of items you need. So in quantity, you place 1. Unit measure is a lot. Unit price is however much you need to be able to purchase, and then you just place the category, the due date, and usually they are open from during the fiscal year, but if you just need it for a month or 2 months, you just place the difference from what kind of dates you need it from. 2012 to 01 03 01 2012. So now that open purchase order is only open for between those months, but if you want to open the whole year, just don't add it. And then if we go to line number 2 here, once again, 1 of quantity, unit measure is lot, unit price, whatever amount you need. But in this case, we know both what kind of items we need and how much of those items we need, but we don't know when we need to buy them. So you just give us as much information as possible. 5 bags of number 1111 topsoil, 5 LB bags. So that's all you need to know about the blanket open purchase orders. It is very important that you fill out all the information to assist us in expediting your orders. If you have any questions, please contact the purchasing department.